Let's talk about Lear Capital, because this is one of those names that comes up constantly whenever people start looking into gold, silver, and precious metals for retirement, and there's a reason for that. Before we start with the video, remember to go to vanstarmining.com/LearBonus to discover a secret bonus if you decide to go with Lear Capital. Lear Capital has been around since 1997, they're based in Los Angeles, and they were founded by Kevin DeMeritt. They've been in the precious metals business for decades now, which already puts them in a very different category than a lot of newer companies that have only been around for a few years. What Lear Capital really does is act as a full-service precious metals dealer. They help people buy and sell physical gold, silver, platinum, and palladium, and they do this both for people who just want to own metals outright and for people who want to hold those metals inside a self-directed IRA, which is what most people mean when they talk about a gold IRA. They position themselves as a company that helps investors use precious metals as a way to diversify their portfolios, protect against inflation, and have something tangible in their financial picture, especially during times of economic uncertainty. When you contact Lear Capital, you're not just pushed into an online checkout process and left to figure things out on your own. You're assigned a personal account representative. This is someone who walks you through the whole process, answers your questions, explains the differences between coins, bars, and other products, and helps you understand how metals might fit into your overall strategy. For a lot of people, especially those who are new to precious metals or retirement accounts, that personal guidance is a big part of the appeal. If you're setting up a gold IRA with Lear Capital, they don't actually act as the custodian themselves, because IRS rules require a third-party custodian. What they do is help you set up a self-directed IRA with one of their partner custodians. They also help you move money into that account, whether it's through a rollover from an old 401k, a transfer from another IRA, or new contributions. They guide you through the paperwork and the steps so that everything stays compliant with IRS rules. Once your account is funded, that's when you choose what metals you want to buy. Lear Capital offers physical gold, silver, platinum, and palladium in different forms, including coins, bars, and ingots. You can place your order online or over the phone, and the prices are based on the current market, but with a markup added. That markup is how Lear Capital makes money. It's important to understand that, because you're not buying at pure spot price. In some cases, gold can be marked up by around 10% over spot, and silver can be marked up by around 17%, depending on the product and market conditions. One thing Lear Capital highlights is what they call their price advantage guarantee. When you place an order, you receive written confirmation, and they give you a 24-hour risk-free review period. This is basically a window where you can review your order and make sure you're comfortable with it before everything is finalized, which can give some peace of mind, especially if you're making a large purchase. After you buy your metals, you have a couple of options. If you're buying metals outside of an IRA, you can have them shipped directly to you. If you're buying inside an IRA, the metals have to be stored in an IRS-approved depository. Lear Capital works with secure insured storage partners, including the Delaware Depository. Your metals are stored in professional vault facilities, they're insured, and they're kept in compliance with federal regulations. Storage and maintenance do come with annual fees, which are part of owning metals in an IRA. Now let's talk about those fees, because this is another important piece of the puzzle. For a precious metals IRA with Lear Capital, the first year's fees are usually around $280. After that, the annual fee is typically around $200 per year. These fees cover things like storage, insurance, and access to your account. Shipping fees are separate and depend on what kind of metals you're buying and how much you're buying. For example, gold and platinum have one shipping rate structure, and silver has another, because silver is heavier and more expensive to ship in bulk. That said, Lear Capital often includes free insured delivery as part of certain promotions. One thing that stands out with Lear Capital is their fee waiver structure. They have progressive discounts based on how much you invest. If you invest over $10,000, they may waive the setup fee. If you're in the $25,000 to $50,000 range, they often waive your first year's fees. If you're between $50,000 and $75,000, they may waive the first 2 years of fees. And if you invest more than $75,000, they may waive your first 3 years of fees. So the larger your investment, the more upfront costs they're willing to cover for you. As for minimum investments, Lear Capital generally requires around $10,000 to open a gold IRA. That's a pretty common minimum in the precious metals IRA space. For people who just want to make direct purchases of bullion outside of an IRA, the minimum can sometimes be lower, in the range of a few $1,000s, depending on the product and any current promotions. They also sometimes offer bonus silver or other incentives for larger investments, so it's usually worth asking what promotions are available at the time. Lear Capital also provides market charts pricing updates, and educational resources to help investors understand what's going on in the precious metals markets. They emphasize transparency and claim that there are no hidden fees, and their overall model is built around guiding people through the process rather than leaving them to figure it out alone. There are, however, some things that are important to keep in mind. Because Lear Capital sells physical metals at a markup, you need to understand that your investment starts out above spot price, which means the metals have to appreciate in value before you break even. Annual storage and maintenance fees also apply for IRA accounts, unless they're waived as part of a promotion. And depending on how you pay and what you buy, delivery times can sometimes take several weeks, especially if you're paying by check. Overall, Lear Capital is best suited for people who want hands-on guidance, who are interested in using physical precious metals as part of their retirement or long-term savings strategy, and who are comfortable with the idea of paying markups and storage fees in exchange for personal service, insured storage, and structured IRA support. They've been in the business for a long time, they handle a high volume of transactions, and they've built their reputation around being a full-service dealer that walks you through the entire precious metals investing process from start to finish. I hope this video was helpful, and don't forget to go to vanstarmining.com/LearBonus to discover a secret bonus that can be interesting if you decide to go with Lear Capital.